week's episode of Stardust Crusaders. Jotaro and Darby the Gambler have the most intense poker game I have ever seen. Jotaro is literally putting everything on the line this week. Not only is he trying to win back the souls of both Polnareff and his grandfather Joseph, but he's also putting his own soul on the line, Avdol's, Kokyoin's, and even his mother Holly. He's literally giving up everything to try and defeat Darby this week, and you could tell immediately that this week's episode was going to be really tense, and surprisingly enough, it flew right by, and that's surprising because there actually was not an intro this week. It immediately got right into the action. There really was no action this week. It was basically just seeing the game between the two, and you could tell when it opened up at the beginning when Darby was trying to cheat, it was going to be awesome, because Star Platinum immediately broke his finger. He even claims he was going to cut it off, and he wasn't going to allow him to trick him, because when he was dealing the cards for the very first time, he was actually taking the second one from the top and giving that to Jotaro, and he's memorized the feel of all the cards, so he knows exactly what's going to go down, and that's when they decide to actually get someone else to deal the cards, and they find this random kid who's just hanging out in the background, but eventually you find out that not only is the kid working for Darby, but every single person that's in that bar is working for him. He has gone out of his way to try and capture Jotaro and his friends, and he nearly does it too, but as the episode is going on, they keep throwing in different wagers, and it really seems like Darby is going to win at the very end. He has a perfect hand, but that's when Jotaro starts wagering all of the different souls, and he isn't even going to look at the cards that he's been given. He's that confident in what he is doing, and there's a really funny scene where he lights up a cigarette, which again is censored. There's really no point to it because you can clearly see him smoking a cigarette, and I especially love that it's actually Star Platinum who lights the cigarette by punching it at extreme speeds, or maybe he's clicking his fingers. I couldn't quite tell. He's moving so fast, and he's basically doing everything in his power to make Darby freak out, and that's when he throws the biggest final wager on him, and that's when he demands to know the secret of Dio's stand. Now, Darby is in a tough spot here. He knows that he can't say anything about Dio's stand, because if he does, he's going to be killed, but he doesn't want to lose either because he has the pride of a gambler, so he starts to freak out and have a nervous breakdown. His hair starts to turn gray, and then he suddenly passes out unconscious while still standing, and he acknowledges within his mind and heart that he has indeed lost the match, and then Polnareff and Joseph are saved. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders? Only anime could make poker this intense. This was a really good episode that had some really sharp writing and a lot of great atmosphere. I didn't even imagine that they were going to make this episode this exciting, but it was fantastic. I just loved all of the tense moments of everything. You really didn't even know where it was going. There were a lot of great moments in this episode where Jotaro was giving some amazing bluffs, especially when it didn't seem like Darby was going to back down. He was actually kind of shocked when he started wagering even more poker chips. But then, that's when things got crazy. When the minute that Jotaro asked to learn about the secrets of Dio's stand, that was just the minute you realized, oh shit, Darby just lost. There's no way he's going to give up those secrets at all, and he's still going to want to have his pride as a gambler. It was just a really interesting episode in that sense. And just that opening scene where Star Platinum broke his finger was fantastic. It pretty much showed that there was no way this guy was going to be able to cheat, or if he was going to cheat, he was going to have to work really hard at doing that. And Jotaro is either the smartest person alive or the dumbest, because his hand completely sucked. He pretty much just went on a whim on that, you know. That was a wing and a prayer kind of play right there, and it was just amazing, because he didn't even look at his cards at all. He was just throwing in all of these wagers and basically pushing Darby into a corner where he really couldn't do anything, and he would be forced to have to give up the game, and damn, that was really smart. This was really interesting, because this was a battle where, like, not a single punch was thrown, and this shows that Jotaro's not just the muscle of the group. He's easily one of the most intimidating and thought-provoking characters of the series, and that's, again, I think what worked really well for this episode is because you can't really read him that well. He's got a great poker face, you know? He can really manipulate any situation due to his intimidation and the fact that he's always quiet a lot of the time, and then he just immediately turns the tables on you, and I think that's some pretty sharp writing right there. It just shows that this guy's just not around to just beat people up. He's a really, really smart character, and I think that's awesome. I was really hoping we would get to learn, though, a little bit more about Dio's stand, but it looks like we might in the next episode. It looked like Dio is going to make something of a small appearance, possibly, but it looks like we're also going to see the return of not only Whole Horse, but Boingo from the Oingo Boingo brothers, and they're going to be teaming up, which I didn't see that coming at all. They're basically taking the two goofy surviving Dio goons and, like, putting them together. I'm not sure what's up with his brother. I know that he was in the hospital. You know, he did have a big, you know, freaking, like, orange bomb go off in his face. But still, this was a really nice episode right here that proves that Stardust Crusaders doesn't always have to be just a big, dumb action fest. It can actually have some really nice, tense moments. So, I'm going to remember this one for a long time. I really can't wait to see what they're going to do next. It looks like after these two hardcore episodes, though, we're getting Whole Horse and Boingo, so we're probably going to get some laughs in the next episode, which, frankly, I don't really have a problem with. I think this is a series that does the humor really well. So, fantastic episode right here. Incredibly tense. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Check it out, JoJo fans. If you've been watching the first anime series, or you've been reading the manga version, you gotta check this one out. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders. What did you think of the defeat of Darby the Gambler? And what do you want to see from next week's episode from Whole Horse and Boingo? And what do you hope to see from the rest of Stardust Crusaders? Make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And thank you guys again for watching. And stay dandy, baby.